Think about it for a second. The shame you feel is greater than any punishment anybody could give you. The shame you should feel, shame on you. Shame, shame, shame. Shame, shame, shame. Know your place. Take it from Jelani Tavai. Great Jelani Tavai. Nobody better. All-time player. There's a reason why you're fans. You're not qualified to do what Mayo is doing or whatever the Pats are doing. You just have to know your place. Let that be a message to you out there. Don't boo. Don't complain. Don't want the Patriots to win. Don't want that. Don't want that. Don't be spoiled. Dietrich Wise said last week you were spoiled. He's got a problem with you wanting to win football games 5 years after Tom Brady left. Like, how dare you? How dare you want that? I'm just glad we are finally getting to the point where we're blaming the people who need to be blamed, and that is season ticket holder Bob in Section 322. I am glad he has gotten away with it for too long. Damn it, Bob. You ungrateful, unintelligent, ignorant rube, Bob. You've ruined the Patriots. You Neanderthal. You caveman. Just be a better fan. That's the most important thing. That's the message to Bob. And thank God we're finally saying it. Just be a better fan. As Jelani Tavai told you today, Bob, in his apology to you. Quote, if they're fans, be fans. Support us. Don't be a critic. Unquote. And that was the apology. To which I say, good job, Jelani, good job. Let's call out the people who really need to be held accountable for this. Because, if there's one thing the Patriots have done, I think, this year, I mean, forget the 3-13 record, I really think they've established a culture of accountability. Because I think in life, it's important when you say one thing to then just do the exact opposite of that. Because that's how you get the most out of people. Like when you say you're going to bench a player and then you don't bench the player. But, you don't really need to actually do it. The message was received. Problem solved. You got a problem with the play calling? 4th and 1, 4th and goal? Don't just do it yourself. Just throw the offensive coordinator under the bus. That is the way to do it. It's important. It's a life lesson. I didn't. Thank you, Jerod. It's a life lesson for you Skaz back there. Always blame the little guy.
You said it, I didn't.
Thank you. When this show goes off the rails tonight and it's not a good radio program, you know who I'm going to blame? I'm going to blame you. You're the little guy. You're the producer. Always blame the little guy for your problems.
You said it, I didn't.
Thank you, Jerod. And that actually comes from on high, too. This isn't just the players blaming the fans. Rightfully so. I think we would all agree, right? Rightfully so. This isn't, the coaching staff blaming other coaches. No, it comes from on high. You think about it, the real issues with the Patriots, I would argue, would be talent. And that's probably the number one reason the Patriots suck. It turns out that you're the reason you don't, say, have Calvin Ridley. How about this messaging from Robert Kraft entering the season? Hey, why don't we have Calvin Ridley?
We had a situation where the taxes were like almost 10% higher, and we offered or were willing to keep going at that premium, but he didn't want to be in the Northeast.
Doesn't want to be here with you. It's your fault. Hey, if you went to the ballot box, Melissa down the street, wants an extra para for her kid's classroom, 3rd grade classroom, you're the reason we don't have Calvin Ridley. You're the reason our football team isn't good enough. I'm just so glad we're finally getting to the most important thing here, is that it's your fault. Thank God we're finally addressing this. This is the culture of accountability that we want to establish. This is your fault, Skaz. Do you feel badly about this?
Yeah, I wish I knew earlier that I was the problem. This is like a reverse Costanza. It's not me, it's you. It's your fault. It's the fans. It's not us. It's not the Patriots. It's you.
It's you. It's you. And you know what? Thank God we finally gotten to the most important thing here. Again, we've debated. Is it talent? Is it the coaching staff? Is it the players? Is it ownership? No, it's you. You, the fans, you're the problem. And you know what? We can hang our hats on that moving forward, Skaz. Because now that we've established this culture of accountability where we're calling out the people who need to be called out, you're the reasons for it, we can fix this thing moving forward. We just need to purge the fans. Don't fire Jerod Mayo. Don't fire Elliott Wolf. Don't fire the coordinators. None of that. Just purge the fans.
Yeah, you don't need any new linemen. You don't need any skill position players. Just a couple new fans, some new jean shorts in the crowd, couple more Brewski jerseys. We're back. Ring the bell, fire up the lighthouse. We're back.
But the most important thing is don't have a current fan ring the bell because you're the issue. It's your fault. On Monday when, Jerod Mayo gets to keep his job and Elliott Wolf gets to keep his job and, when a couple coordinators get whacked and maybe a few position coaches get fired, thank God we can say we're finally getting down to it. We're going to purge the organization of the real offenders. Position coaches like wide receivers coach Tyler Hughes, who definitely is the problem with the organization. For all of his crimes against the Patriots, he gets his walking papers. But, how do you fire an entire fan base? Which really is the message from the Patriots. It was the message from the owner at the owners' meetings this past year. Well, let me tell you, those taxes, man, I tried to warn you about that. Put a lot of money into that campaign. Oh, boy, we're not good anymore. It's your fault.
I think the only guy ever to successfully fire all of his fans was probably Art Modell.
Yes.
He might be the only one.
Maybe that's the approach here. Just fire the fans. But if we can't purge you, Skaz, if we can't purge the fans, I just hope that you go home tonight and you just think about what you've done. You hang your head in shame. Maybe even if you're the praying kind, pray for forgiveness from whoever you want to pray to. Just ask for forgiveness for what you've done. You, the people, are the real offenders. And frankly, I just hope knowing is enough punishment for you. 617-779-0985. It's your fault. It's your fault. John in the car to lead us off tonight. Hi, John.
Hey, McCarthy, great show. I just tuned in for the start of your rant and then called in, and that was such a thing of beauty. I'd like to thank you for that.
Anytime.
Beyond that, my point is I hate how I'm getting called out as a fan for looking at a product that is just terrible. So real quick, the anecdote that I have is the last Boston sports event that I turned off was the snowball game. Me and my father were watching the snowball game, and when Tom Brady fumbled the football, we turned the TV off and went to bed. And we woke up the next day, and we were like, what happened?
And you know what, John? I got to let you go on that. I don't think you should be allowed to be a fan for that. Bad move right there from John. He should have been the first guy we kicked out of the fan base.
Might have been the first domino.
Really, John, you got to go, man. You got to go. You're the problem here. You should have known you were the problem then. We let him stick around for 20 years? Unbelievable.
It's amazing they won even one Super Bowl.
We can't. With fans like John, that's a problem right there. Always blame the little guy for your problems. You know what? Nothing could be more American than that. Always blame the little guy for your problems. Bob in section 322, you're the issue, man. You're the issue. 617-779-0985. I would invite you to call in and apologize for everything that you have done to ruin the New England Patriots. Know your place. Know your role. Say you're sorry. And say it like you mean it. That's what the Patriots want from you. We continue. It's McCarthy in for Joe Murray.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
building year. We know the roster wasn't going to be good, so it's all about building culture and accountability and making sure that, the right people stay in the right jobs, like Jerod Mayo and Elliot Wolf. I mean, they've done many things to earn their positions back. The person who has not done that is Alex Van Pelt. I mean, he's been your best coach, but, we all know he's here to be scapegoated, so he needs to go. That's just the way it works. He is here to take a beating on behalf of Jerod Mayo. You got a problem with a 4th and goal call? It's on him. It's not on me. Wash your hands of it. That, folks, is how you go through life. That's how you should live. When you go home tonight and you talk to your kids, you say, son, daughter, whatever you want to say. You look them in the eye. You just say, always pass the buck. Always do that. Always blame the little guy. You have a fan? You have a paying customer? Good approach to business. Something goes wrong, the customer is always wrong. Keep that in mind. It's a life lesson right there. Teach them. This is how it works. This is how it works. Speaking of accountability, Phil in New Hampshire wants to apologize for everything that he's done wrong by being a Patriots fan. Hi, Phil.
Hi. Yeah, I'm feeling really bad about myself as a Patriots fan, being so entitled.
Yeah. Spoiled.
We're not sharing relentlessly for a team that's $36.7 million under the salary cap.
That's right.
And then, a team that showed no improvement because, for 20 years, we had a team that was built around a coach with a psychotic culture and a quarterback who bought in fully to that culture, and it brought us so much success. And the accountability was a huge thing with those guys, and I expected accountability. And I'm not holding myself accountable. But the players, on the other hand, when their coach is saying, hey, what happens between the lines is out of my control,
right,
and there's no accountability there.
Well, no, but I'm just glad that you're being accountable, Phil, and that's the most important thing because it's your fault. You're right. You can't control what happens in the white lines, or Jerod Mayo can't, but maybe you can as a fan. And just remember, as Jelani Tavai said in his apology to you today, if you're a fan, be like, a fan. Support us. Don't be a critic. How dare you? How dare you criticize Jelani Tavai? Jelani Tavai, if you could only appreciate great players, but you can't because you're a Patriots fan. Skaz, if you could only appreciate a great player like Jelani Tavai, it's a you problem.
You know what? That one is on me. I've been taking them for granted. I'm taking a lot of players on this roster for granted, I think.
You should.
Cole Strange, great draft pick. All these wide receivers. Don't take any of these guys for granted.
No.
Lucky to have them.
We are.
Lucky to watch them every Sunday. It's been a joy this year.
I'm so bummed the season's over.
I'm sure the guys behind the glass on Sunday really upset about this upcoming weekend.
Devastated. Really. Let's see. Jelani Tavai also said that fans have supported this team through worse seasons and for us to not be critics. To which I would say, this feels like the worst one yet. At least in your lifetime, Jelani.
At least probably in mine.
Definitely in mine.
Yeah, I'm 31.
Yeah.
This is probably just about as bad as it gets.
I was born in 91. I wasn't around for 1990. I wasn't there for it. But no, I mean, it's all good. Everything's fine. He's right. He's totally right. Nobody in this organization needs media training. This is what I've determined this year. Everybody comes to the podium and says the right thing. And if they have to walk something back, it always goes well. I thought this apology went great today from Jelani Tavai.
I've been used to Walk It Back Mondays this year. This is one of the first Walk It Back Fridays I think we've had.
A fallback Friday.
Fallback Friday.
Alliteration, always good.
We're going to have Fall Guy Monday probably this upcoming Monday.
Oh, Fall Guy Monday. Again, what was last night's show lesson? Do you remember the lesson from last night's show?
There was a lot going on last night. There's some technical difficulties.
Well, the lesson was, and for the folks who missed it last night, is you can be one of two things in life. You can either be the fall guy or the person who has the fall guy. And I always recommend to you that you be the person who has the fall guy. So tonight's lesson is always blame the little guy, which I guess kind of ties into the fall guy thing. Like, you don't want to be that. But in the end, it's your fault. Don't forget it. Don't forget it, Patriots fans. Josh in the car. Hi, Josh.
Hey guys, how you doing? So, I mean, look, I was at the Snowball game, right, when the whole Brady era started. So this is just, to go from that to where we are now, it's pathetic and it's disconcerting. However, my point about Robert Kraft is this is what I don't understand. This is a brilliant business guy. He's a billionaire. He has spent his whole life, the latter part of 50-plus years, building his business, okay? What I don't understand is he has to be objective in business and he's got advisors, he's got people around him. If he took a step back, okay, and was critiquing Robert Kraft as the CEO of the New England Patriots for the last 5 years, he would have fired Robert Kraft probably after last year. So what I don't understand is, are there all of these yes men around him that are just telling him, no, don't worry, you're a brilliant man, you know what you're doing? Or is he just completely inept and has gone completely off the reservation at 83 years old? Because I cannot imagine that as again, an objective fan, if he was to take a step back, he would tolerate this if he was viewing Robert Kraft as the CEO of this organization. He's just making wrong decision after wrong decision. Just wanted to see what you guys thought about that.
And Josh, I think ultimately, you're missing the point. And Skaz, I know you're on the phone, but if you wouldn't mind, it doesn't have anything to do with Robert Kraft's decision making. What's one of the primary problems with the New England Patriots, as we heard this past summer or spring at the owners' meetings? It's not anybody in the building. Most importantly, it's you at the ballot box. If you wouldn't mind, Skaz. We'll get to that. 617-779-0985. How about Dan in Boxford? Hey, Dan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Listen, Kraft, I'm done with him. If you look at from when he bought the team, and then you look at even in 2001, if we all forget, Belichick was on the hot seat. He had an 0-2 start before Bledsoe got hurt. And then everything went Kraft's way. You happen to fall into the best quarterback at 199. You had an injury that ended up working out for the Patriots. But look at everything afterward. His legacy, this is why he's not in the Hall of Fame, and I don't think he's a Hall of Fame owner. He won 6 rings, but he fell into it. All he did was build a mall and a big hog at the end of the stadium.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think he absolutely should be a Hall of Fame owner. Did Tom Brady, was he the number one reason it happened? Yeah. But Kraft showed significant conviction to bring Bill Belichick here. That was 25 years ago, but he showed significant conviction to bring Bill Belichick here, and he managed to keep that together for a good long time, and I think he does deserve credit for that. Now, he made an entire documentary to try and prove it, and that probably wasn't a very good look to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, nor should it have been. But Robert Kraft is a Hall of Fame owner. He has not been a Hall of Fame owner for the last 5 years, maybe even the last 10 years. If you go back and look at the amount of spending that's gone on around these parts, he's dead last in the NFL over the last 8 years in cash spending. But it doesn't have anything to do with the Patriots spending. Skaz, if you wouldn't mind, why is Calvin Ridley not here? It has nothing to do with their own decision-making. I think it's most important that we look at the people responsible for this, the citizens of Massachusetts.
We had a situation where the taxes were like almost 10% higher, and we offered or were willing to keep going at that premium, but he didn't want to be in the Northeast.
Doesn't want to be with you, that's for sure. I mean, can you blame him? Why would you want to come here? Be with people like be with ungrateful people who boo and want the team to win football games? Would you want to be around that, Skaz?
When I think of good NFL fans, I think of the Tennessee Titans. I
sure do.
They come to mind right away.
I sure do. And I mean, it's definitely, let's keep in mind, we were willing to pay the money. But by the way, I mean, have you seen the tax rates around here? Because once again, it's not our fault.
Yeah, the Celtics haven't been able to sign anybody because of these tax rules.
No.
Jason Tatum, Jalen, Derek, I don't know how they're handing out these contracts.
How have the 49ers been so good in recent years? The LA Rams.
Dodgers really struggle to hand out contracts, don't they?
Sure do.
Those poor Los Angeles Dodgers and the taxes out there.
Listen, but again, it's your fault, guys. Just keep that in mind. Let's direct the blame where it needs to be directed. At the fans. I hope you feel badly. 617-779-0985. Accountability, something the Patriots have been very good at this year. What's the latest on Jerod Mayo? What's the latest on Elliott Wolf? I have people starting to act like maybe they're going. People that I start paying attention to. A little bit of the old guard and a little bit of the new guard. When they come together, Skaz, and they start saying maybe Jerod Mayo and Elliott Wolf are gone, I start to listen. I start to listen just a little bit. We'll get into the latest. I don't want to call it reporting, the latest senses, gut feelings that people have on the status of Jerod Mayo and Elliott Wolf. We'll do that next with your phone calls and hopefully your apologies for what you have done. 617-779-0985. Why don't you know your place and listen to these Sports Hub headlines?
Sports Hub headlines.
Better. Celtics, Rockets tonight in Houston. Skaz, did you just say Jabari Smith has broken his hand for the Rockets?
Yeah, Shams a couple minutes ago broke his hand in shoot-around today, 4 to 6 weeks. So a guy that started every single game for the Rockets this year will not be playing against the Celtics tonight.
Out! Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis, questionable. Al Horford, out! Second night of a bad.
We call them the Joe Murray pre-party. It's Felger and Maz afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
At the same time, too, in the nonstop Cold War, if you will, between New York Jets and New England Patriots, to go ahead and maybe land Mike Vrabel if they can, that would be a fascinating plot twist because, as you were describing Mike Vrabel's availability, is Jerod Mayo in trouble? Could the Crafts with Vrabel out there talking to the Jets and being out there, could they make a move?
Well, first of all, Mike Vrabel was out there last year, and there were, plenty of reports linking Vrabel to potentially going to New England. Again, he made an appearance during the season in the box of Robert Kraft and talking to the crowd. Those rumors will persist as long as Mike Vrabel is available as a head coaching candidate. I would say this. I have not been told anything definitive either way on Jerod Mayo. I would also say that it's important to remember this was not a decision made on a whim to name Mayo the head coach last season. This was something that had been years in the making. The grooming of Jerod Mayo and attempts behind the scenes to bring him along, the fact that contractually they put it into writing that he was going to be the next head coach, which allowed them to not have to go through several interviews to comply with the Rooney Rule. They could simply hire him flat out. Robert Kraft was very proud, if you go back to that introductory press conference in January, talking about how this was the first black head coach in Patriots history.
People, I think, really kind of tied into this. It's kind of the same messaging. It's, Robert really believes in Jerod Mayo, and it would have to be a real calamity for him to, move away from that. Jerod's probably back next year. And, I certainly, fall under that camp. I think he's coming back. That's my gut. I believe most of the reporting, especially, from the national folks who generally get this type of stuff first and, report on all this, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, you name it. They've pretty much all come out in line and said Jerod Mayo's coming back. Barring something crazy, Jerod Mayo's coming back. But I always keep my ears open. It's McCarthy in for Joe Murray tonight. I always, put the ear to the old grindstone. Is that the saying, Skaz? It doesn't matter if that's the saying. I always look out for stuff. My antenna. Keeping an eye out. Hear Mike Felger come back from his Christmas break yesterday, and all of a sudden he's changed his mind a little bit. He has a gut feeling. And full disclosure, I tried to shake Mike down during the crossover. I said, Mike, generally, when you say of a gut feeling, I just feel like you're the type of guy, you're in the know. You don't want people to know how much you're in the know. You know more than you want us to know. Is this informs it all? And he said, he sweared, swear on, my mother type of thing. He doesn't know anything. Looked me dead in the eye. It was a magical moment. Mike and I just looking at each other, strong eye contact. He looked me dead in the eye and he said, McCarthy, I don't know anything. It's just my feeling. It's just common sense. So I say, okay. But he's got good intuition with stuff like this. Then I see this tweet earlier today. Glenn Ordway. Now, Glenn goes way back, right? The old Wayback Machine, the Troop Wayback Machine. Somebody says, Glenn, do you have a prediction? Glenn and Mike, I feel like they'd hear things from the same people, right? They go back to that era, that thing. Glenn tweets this out. I think that Jonathan, who is practical, will convince his father, Robert, who is loyal and supportive of people, that their franchise is on a road to nowhere and that they need to overhaul the entire operation, coach, GM, and some staff. It's just a gut feeling I have. Skaz, you were all over this. You said gut feeling. This is a Skaz-spiracy.
Yeah, I just thought the wording was certainly interesting. There seemed to be an emphasis on gut feelings in the afternoon this week, and then you see this tweet. I just wonder if the gut feelings are going around, if it's a mutual gut feeling, if there's some murmurings going around that maybe they're gauging reaction for this happening on Monday. I'm still not convinced, but I just thought it was very interesting.
Trial balloon.
Yeah, there you go.
To the talkers out there, the people who, know the narrative, understand the narrative, maybe even sometimes set the narrative. Just a little trial balloon. Yeah, and then gut feelings. I don't know, Skaz. Every once in a while, For example, I have a gut feeling that the Red Sox are at 5 years on Alex Bregman. I have a gut feeling about that. I wouldn't say that's speculation. I would say it's a gut feeling. It's a belief. Now, I speculate that the Detroit Tigers are probably at 7 years. That's speculation, but that's not a gut feeling. I don't know if I believe that. Well, second I start hearing the words believe and gut feeling in sports radio, from people who hear things, even if they don't want to say they know things, and they hear things. But we all hear things. If you're in this business, you hear things. Like, again, I have a gut feeling that the Red Sox are at 5 years on Bregman. I also might have a gut feeling that they haven't made a formal overture to him yet, formal offer. So that's a gut feeling of mine. I don't know if that's speculation, but it's a gut feeling. I don't know. Something to keep an eye on there. 617-779-0985. Is there a little bit of a change? I hope so. I mean, maybe that's just wishful thinking from me and from Skaz and from everybody else. I don't know. Interesting little language being used there. Something to watch out for. To you, on anything you want. How about Brian in Norwood? Hey, Brian.
Matt, what's up, my friend?
How you doing, Brian?
I'm good, thanks. I just had 2 points, and number one, my dad took me to my first Patriots game in the mid-'80s because Dan Marino was playing, and I didn't go to see a Patriot. How embarrassing is that? And I don't want to be the same dad now, bringing my 2 sons to their first Patriots games to go see somebody like a stud coming into town.
Hey, you can see Josh Allen for one drive this weekend, Brian, and I think it'll be very easy to do so. I think, tickets are readily available.
Well, my second point was I'm so addicted to sports radio. I'm driving my 6th grade son to his club soccer game tonight, and we're listening to you. And you must have made the point about minor league soccer 3 or 4 times. No, I'm sorry, minor league football.
Yep.
And he looks at me. This kid is a diehard 12-year-old sports fan. And he goes, Dad, like deadpan, like gives me a guilt trip. He goes, why haven't you taken me to a minor league football game? And it's a long story.
It's sticking, Brian. It's sticking. I'm not going to lie. I have heard people using the term trademark Matt McCarthy, at least 2023 minor league football. I have used that term. I heard Felger and Joe Murray bandying it about the other day. Mark Dondero tweeting out multiple times about minor league football.
Maybe you'll be getting a call from Shaughnessy soon to see if he could use it. I know he's called about trademarks in the past.
That's right.
Maybe he'll revisit and get some minor league football.
Dan is excellent about that. He wants to make sure he gives credit where credit is due. One night I'm sitting at Alberto's in Norton, just hanging out there, and I feel my phone buzz and pull it out, and Dan Shaughnessy. I'm like, Dan Shaughnessy, Jesus, this can't be good. So I pick up the phone, like, hey, Dan. Hi, Matt. Dan Shaughnessy here. Like, yeah, hi, Dan. How you doing? What's going on? Matt, just a quick question. Did you coin the term dumpster diving to describe the Red Sox? Because I'm going to use that in a column, and I've heard you say that, and I really do like it. Like, well, Dan, thank you very much. No, I would not say that I coined the term dumpster diving, but I did coin the term Bluminati. I said, oh, very interesting. Thank you. Sure enough, picked up pieces, Bluminati, TM Matt McCarthy, right there. Thank you, Dan, very much. There's a man with integrity. Unlike you, Patriots fans, as we just found out from Jelani Tavai today. If only you had integrity. There's a reason why you're fans. You're not qualified to do what Jerod Mayo is doing or whatever the Patriots are doing. You just have to know your place. Know your place. Keep that in mind. Don't you ever forget it. We'll continue. It's McCarthy and for Joe Murray.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe.
Joe Murray. We're going up until the Celtics. Rockets, 7:30 tonight here on the Sports Hub. Tip-off just after 8. Granny and Max have the call. Kristaps Porzingis in. Jaylen Brown out. Jabari Smith out for Houston. He broke his hand in shoot-around. How does that happen, by the way? Break your hand and shoot-around? Strange occurrence. Strange way to break your hand. Of all the ways you could break your hand, an NBA shoot-around would not be one.
No, I would think that's about as low a contact event as you would probably get in professional sports.
What do you have, Joe Mazzulla out there trying to injure guys? Like, what's the deal?
Ime.
Ime
Out there.
Well, I mean, wasn't there footage of Joe Mazzulla? Didn't he get hurt in shoot-around?
I think he was. I remember he got in trouble for like closing out on guys shooting at the end of half. So that was a big one. But yeah, I think he did. I think you're right. I think maybe it was like late last season, right?
There was like an eye injury or something, right? And he couldn't coach because he got injured and shoot around. It was taking things very seriously. We'll get to the bottom of it because you know what this show's about, Skaz? It's about accountability, and thank God, Jelani Tavai and the New England Patriots are establishing a culture of accountability and holding you, the fans, responsible for this mess. 617-779-0985. Joey in Kingston is calling to apologize for his role in all of this. Joey,
I am.
the floor is yours.
Hey, Happy New Year, Miss McCarthy and Skaz.
You too, Joey.
Matt, so you were born in 91, you said?
That's right, yes.
Jeez, I was about 27 and crushing beers at Sullivan Stadium in Fenway back in those days.
Yeah.
But the point of my call is, so I've been to every home game this season and almost went to an away game. But after hearing what Jelani Tavai said, no, I feel shame. I'm embarrassed for my family, my country.
Yep.
Alcohol may have been involved at some of these events.
Sure.
And I just hope that Mr. Tavai can find it in his heart to forgive me and be okay with me going again this Sunday to pay another $240 per seat, $50 to park, $14 a beer to watch another crap sandwich. And man, the NFL's a business, right?
Sure is.
So, listen, the season ticket holders, we're just like shareholders. And when we go to these games, we have every right to take our proxy votes with our voice.
Well, not according to Jelani Tavai or Dietrich Wise or Devon Godshaw or just about anybody associated with the Patriots. They don't like the booze. Very hard for them to hear the booze. Jawan Bentley tweeted out today that he is not afraid of the media and doesn't like the criticism. I'm guessing like you, anything. How dare you? How dare you go to Foxborough and boo? How dare you demand the head coach, the multi-million-dollar head coach of the New England Patriots, how dare you demand he get fired after a 3-14 season? How dare you? I'm glad you, Joey, understand your role in this and are really trying to live a better life as a result. Understanding that you have made mistakes, that alcohol was probably involved, and going out there and chanting fire Mayo, that is a problem, and you are a problem. The first step is admitting you have a problem, and Joey in Kingston admits that he has a problem. Thank God. It'll make the world a better place. How about Chris in Worcester? Chris.
Yeah, I sit on my couch and have a few beers and yell at the TV too. So I'm allowed, right?
I mean, not according to them.
Hey, quick
Chris,
question
are you on speakerphone?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's all good. Again, I appreciate the Skaz, look at that accountability from Chris and Worcester right there. This is the type of culture that we're building here on the Joe Show.
So, quick, if I could just ask a Celtics quick question.
Go for it.
Great. I'm sorry. Celtics, great road trip right here. Tonight is Houston. Oh God, the coach that got fired. Adoka, whatever his name is. But anyways, very interesting how they play one another. Because what's his name? Our other coach was under him. But just real quick. This. What do you think the Celtics need to do to go on this road trip? Beat Houston. They beat Minnesota. Then you got OKC and Denver. Those are two tough games.
I think it's a bad spot for them, Chris. I think tonight, bad spot for them. Porzingis back, which helps. Then I don't know who you're going to play on Sunday against Oklahoma City. Nice little win last night. A nice win for the Celtics. But this does not feel like second night back-to-back. You go from Minnesota to Houston. I do not like the Celtics in this one. What's the line tonight, Skaz? Do we have a line?
Celtics minus 1.5, I believe.
Or can I get Houston on the money line for
that? Was pre-Porzingis news, so it may have shifted, but earlier today it was minus 1.5.
Yeah, what can I get Houston at on the money line? This feels like a good spot for the Rockets tonight. Now you get Porzingis back, which obviously makes a huge difference. If he's healthy, if he's right, which who's to say? I don't know.
It is minus 2.5 now. Rockets money line plus 120.
Now, again, we're in the business of accountability. I would not take any of my gambling advice. I'm very much on a cold streak right now, so I'm not. You know what, Skaz? I'm not even going to offer an opinion. I know Sports Talk Radio, McCarthy offered an opinion. No, not for the people out there. I need to be accountable to you. It's the most important thing. Not going to go near it. Not going to go near it. Hey, speaking of accountability, how about Jason Tatum last night? Saying, I want Anthony Edwards, and I'm going to shut him down, and I'm going to shut him up, which he did on the court, and then Anthony Edwards spoke after the game, which was highly enjoyable. Very good night for Jason Tatum last night. Very good night. And not such a good night for Anthony Edwards. I was told, by the way, and speaking of accountability, by a program here on this very radio station back in May, when Anthony Edwards went off for an unforgettable Western Conference semifinal performance. I was told that Anthony Edwards had surpassed Jason Tatum. This is what I was informed of this, Skaz. It appears that information might have been wrong. I'm just curious if there's been any acknowledgement, any apology for that today. Did you hear any of that?
Oh, I did think it was kind of curious that one member of the afternoon show wasn't in today after that performance from Anthony Edwards. It's just convenient timing.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, that would involve Maz being in on a Friday.
That's true.
Not
it's the winter,
summer.
2025. He's starting off strong.
Yep. Let's get into Anthony Edwards. That wasn't good last night. A bad moment for him. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed that last night. 90 seconds, no commercials. Jason Tatum v. Anthony Edwards. Apologize to me. It's McCarthy in for Joe Murray.
WBZ-FM and HD Boston. Patriots! From the opening kickoff to the final play.
Touchdown!
Your home of the pass. 98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics, Houston tonight. Jaylen Brown out. Al Horford out. Kristaps Porzingis in. He will play. Second night of a back-to-back for the C's after they beat Minnesota 118-115 last night. Grandy and Max get us started a half hour from now here on the Sports Hub. Patriots will be without Christian Gonzalez on Sunday against the Bills. He's out with a concussion. Ben Brown, Jalen Polk, Jabril Peppers also ruled out for that one. Drake May officially listed as questionable with a right hand injury. Jets today interviewed Mike Vrabel for their head coach opening. Bruins have signed Mark Kastelik to a contract extension, 3 years, $1.5 million per season. ESPN reporting the PGA Tour is considering a bracket-style competition for the Tour Championship involving stroke and match play, multiple options being considered to tweak the format, according to that report. And the Orioles tonight signed right-hander Charlie Morton, 1 year, $15 million. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub, your next update during Celtics tonight.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Got it. Don't have a timeout. He hands to Edwards. Edwards steps away from Tatum, launches the three. It's no good, and the Celtics win again. For the second consecutive game, Minnesota gets a three in the final seconds. Again, it is no good. And again, the Celtics survive, and they sweep another pulsating season series with the Minnesota Timberwolves. The final score, Boston 118, Minnesota 115.
In the final moments. But he's arrived, though. That's what I heard. That's what I was told. It's McCarthy in for Joe Murray. You know, Joe Murray did try to tell the people about this earlier today. It was a take that I thought was needed and was true. and it was shut down. It was shut down. It was not allowed. Not allowed from 2 to 6 today. Joe Murray's opinion that the Celtics have found a way to frustrate these teams and have brought out the worst in them and have brought out bad moments from guys like Anthony Edwards. Because how could we possibly, Skaz, criticize the great Anthony Edwards, who had, I mean, really one of the most memorable Western Conference semifinal performances you'll ever see. I mean, telling my kids about that. And then, of course, he went and got an 8 last night. Anthony Edwards had 15 points, 5 of 16 from the field, and bricked the final shot. And after the game, said basically it's not his fault. He's a great scorer and actually doesn't want to get anybody else involved. This is what the Celtics did to Anthony Edwards last night.
Third quarter, you took one shot but had 5 assists, and you guys scored 34 points. Is that kind of the way forward for this right now, like to just get up as much as possible? And
hell no. Yeah, I don't know, man. That was a good brand of basketball, but it's not how I want to play. Of course, I mean, I'm only 23. I don't want to just be passing the ball all night. You feel me? Like,
you don't do Mike Conley.
Yeah, at all. But the way that they guarded me, I think I had to. So
I was gonna say, how hard is it to just stay engaged?
Super hard. Yeah. Super hard. I mean, because I'm wired to score the ball.
That guy's a loser.
Wah.
That guy, Skaz, I know you have strong opinions about Anthony Edwards, but hey, Anthony, you had 5 assists, you scored 34 points in the third quarter. You beat the Celtics in that quarter. They were double teaming you. You made the right play. Is that how you want to play? And his answer is
no, thanks.
Nope.
No, not interested.
What?
Rather just chuck up the ball, maybe score some more.
Yep. I want to shoot 5 for 16 and lose the basketball game, but I'm 23 and I'm a scorer. This is the guy who has surpassed Jason Tatum, according to, well, let's call it Felger Mass. This is the guy who has surpassed Jason Tatum.
I think, obviously labeled a green teamer, even though simply just state facts and called the Celtics the best team in the league because they are. But I remember a very, very heavy criticism of Jason Tatum over the years. A very lazy one at that, though, was that he was Carmelo Anthony. Was that he was Carmelo Anthony light. Was that all Jason Tatum wanted to do was put up, volume points and meaningless, fourth quarters. He was Carmelo Anthony. That quote, exactly what Anthony Edwards just said, could not be more Carmelo Anthony.
That is Anthony Edwards.
Loser behavior. The reporter even tries to set him up. The reporter's like, hey, 5 assists in that third quarter. Team scored 36 points. Is that what the team's going to have to do to win some of these games? And Anthony Edwards like, I hope not. I hope I don't have to, get my teammates involved. These guys? You want me passing to these guys to try and get wins? No way. You got to let me shoot 50 times a game. So for all the people that anointed Anthony Edwards the king, and look, I like Anthony Edwards. He's one of the most exciting players to watch in the league. Mm-hmm. He's a tremendous basketball player. He's not playing winning basketball right now. And, listening to this quote, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to play winning basketball. That's the difference with Jason Tatum and these other, superstars in the league. He does everything right. Is he the best shooter in the league? No. Is he the best passer in the league? No. Best rebounder? No. But he does every single little thing at an elite level, and he elevates every other player on the floor on a nightly basis. He passed to Neemias Queta, under the basket multiple times in that game, and Queta had big buckets because Tatum trusts him. Anthony Edwards would look at him and say, I got to get another assist right now? That doesn't look cool. That doesn't look good for me. You want me to give it up? So, yeah, a good night for the Celtics. Anthony Edwards is now a whopping 1 for 8 versus Jason Tatum in his career. Tatum averages 34 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists in those games. So, congrats to Anthony Edwards for making one NBA semifinal and having one good game against Jason Tatum and then calling him out and, kind of getting what he deserved, I guess. I mean, the Timberwolves are a good team, but for all the Celtics, quote unquote fans that attack Tatum for, his lack of personality, that's the guy you want. You want the guy who doesn't want to play winning basketball, the guy who wants, me. I don't want to pass to my teammates. That's your guy. That's your king. Mm-hmm. Not for me.
No, he is. He is our king. We were told that. We have to accept it, Skaz, right? The Timberwolves are 17-16 this year. Why? Because of that guy. And you know what? In defense of Anthony Edwards, you have to learn in the NBA. You have to learn how to win. And this, in some ways, this is the point that people missed the most in May, when we were crowning Anthony Edwards and turning the Timberwolves into the next big thing. It takes a long time to learn how to win in the NBA. This guy's still young. He's 23. The talent is all there. But you know what? We crowned Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown before they were ready to be crowned, before they deserved it. I mean, Jaylen Brown, at Anthony Edwards' age, a little bit younger, was coming out and saying he was going to win, 5 championships in the next 8 years? You remember that?
Well, I think his interviewer had a little bit to do with that, if we're being fair.
Well, but he did come out and do that, right? And
absolutely.
And listen, I mean, they didn't want to defer to Gordon Hayward. They didn't want, they felt like they had arrived, and they hadn't arrived. And the Celtics fought that for years. They fought culture problems. They fought maturity problems. They hadn't learned how to win. This is a story as old as time in the NBA. Crowning a fourth-year player last year in Anthony Edwards, a 23-year-old, is the dumbest thing you can do. You know what? This is the most predictable thing in the NBA this year, that the Timberwolves were going to take a step back and Anthony Edwards was going to have some problems. Because the second you start crowning guys, this is what happens. You have to learn how to fail in that league. You have to learn how to win. And it took the Celtics a long time to do it. And the Celtics won that game last night because they have more maturity. Because Jason Tatum has more maturity than Anthony Edwards. And for years, I looked at the Celtics guys and I said they don't have enough maturity, they don't know how to win, and only if they knew how to play like this guy or this team, that player X, you name it. We did that for years, and you know what? We were justified in doing it. The same way that we are exactly and completely justified in doing this with Anthony Edwards. This is the way the league works. So don't talk to me about the next up-and-coming team. And by the way, you're going to see one of those teams on this road trip. You're going to see Oklahoma City. Can we even say that? That felt bad. Something about that felt bad. You're going to see Oklahoma City on this road trip. There's a team, Skaz, that is young. They're up-and-coming. But I guarantee you this. Mark the tape. And I guess, again, this show, the Joe Murray Show, filled with accountability. If you run into Oklahoma City in the finals, you will win that series because you are more experienced and you know how to win. The Celtics had to go through the exact same thing, the exact same growing pains. 2022 against Golden State. Were the Celtics the better team? I would argue they were the better, more talented team by that point. They had no idea how to win. That matters. That matters in this league. And it's going to matter when you run into a young team. And if the Celtics run into Oklahoma City in the NBA Finals, it will matter in that matchup. Am I wrong in feeling that way?
No, and Ime Udoka was actually kind of asked about this pregame tonight, because in the past he was asked about the Celtics losing in 2022, and he said it was because of their IQ. And he said tonight, IQ and experience are one and the same, and just being there at times, that hurt us obviously in that series. Against some of those guys that have been there for Golden State, you could see that. But once you kind of got over that hurdle, just being there, you knew it was coming for this Celtics team. So Udoka's basically saying the same thing, like, we got beat because of IQ and experience. Now the Celtics have that.
It's important. It's really important, and it showed up last night. And it showed up at the end of that Minnesota game in Boston. I don't know, a month or two ago, whatever that was. Edwards dribbles the ball around and he gets forced to his left and the play gets blown up. They didn't have the basketball IQ to understand the situation. And for years and years and years, the Celtics did not have that. And now they do. And it's their greatest advantage over the next up-and-coming young teams in the NBA. You have to learn how to win in this league. Stars have to learn how to win in this league. You have to most players go through this. What Anthony Edwards is going through right now, most players go through that in the NBA. The Celtics went through it. How could you not have seen this coming? How could you have just jumped to the conclusions that you jumped to back in May about this guy? Oh, this is the easiest one. Easiest one. I'm not really in the prediction business, guys. I'm not very good at it. But you could have seen this one coming from a mile away. The Anthony Edwards thing kind of crashing back down to earth. And by the way, I predict he will learn and he will grow and he will get better from it. It's just going to take a while. He's not going to do it at 23. I'm concerned about Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves when he's 26. Talk to me then. Don't talk to me about them now. 17 and 16. Come on.
Would you like kind of a whopper of some NBA breaking news?
I would like that.
I'm not going to trigger the sounder here, but it is involving the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler.
Ooh.
The Miami Heat have released the following statement on Jimmy Butler. We have suspended Jimmy Butler for 7 games for multiple instances of conduct detrimental to the team over the course of the season, and particularly the last several weeks. Through his actions and statements, he has shown he no longer wants to be a part of this team. So, Pat Riley said, Jimmy Butler, you want to go at it? You want to have a staring contest with Pat Riley? Not the guy you want to get in a fight with. Not the guy you want holding a grudge against you. Pat Riley has called Jimmy Butler's bluff, and Jimmy Butler is now suspended for 7 games.
He also goes on to say in this statement, Jimmy Butler and his representative have indicated that they wish to be traded. Therefore, we will listen to offers. But until then, we're sitting you down. Screw you. Oh, that's fascinating. Didn't Joe have a take on this earlier? That the Celtics broke the Miami Heat? They broke Jimmy Butler? Where's he going? This is the next big domino to fall in the NBA.
It's another win for the Celtics.
Yes, it is.
We used to give the Patriots credit for doing this to teams. I know Mike didn't want to give the Celtics any credit for winning the title last year or forcing guys to tap out. But, Jimmy Butler wants out of Miami. I'm not going to say it's solely because of the Celtics, but getting his ass kicked time and time again in the playoffs while Pat Riley sits on his hands certainly doesn't help.
Where's a good landing spot for him? Let's think about that.
I don't know. Do you want Jimmy Butler?
At this point?
He's old. He's never won anything in his life.
He's a competitor, right? So, there are things I like about Jimmy Butler, but we all know it, right? You only have so many moves to make in the NBA.
He's a guy that cares for 3 months of the year. He doesn't try in the he's been an 8 seed his entire career, and then he turns it on in the playoffs when it quote unquote matters. He's been blown out of every city he's been to because he can't get along with anybody, and he's never won a thing. If I'm Pat Riley, good for Pat Riley. Not a Pat Riley fan, but good for him on this one.
Sit him down. Sit your ass down. All right, some stuff to get to there. Jimmy Butler, the latest. We'll stew on that for a few minutes. Your thoughts on the Celtics and anything you want. We got one segment to go until Celtics pregame. A lot to dive into with Grandy and Max tonight for sure. 617-779-0985. McCarthy in for Joe.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on
That eventually, if something goes down, when something goes down, that's the NBA for you. It's not about the games, I'll tell you that. I mean, that's why ratings are down 40%. It's about the drama. It's a talker. It is. It always is. Product itself, actual games, regular season, apparently nobody wants to watch that. But this stuff, no, it's good. It's juicy. It's worthwhile. And what does it mean for the Celtics, depending on where Jimmy Butler ends up? Are you concerned about it? Are you not concerned about it? Your thoughts, 617-779-0985. How about Dean in Shrewsbury? Hey, Dean.
Hey, so I wouldn't count OKC out yet. They could get Jimmy Butler or similar star without giving up Ted Holmgren, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, or Jalen Williams by coupling together a few contracts, and they have 5 first-round picks this year. So they're going to have to make a consolidation trade either this deadline or the summer.
Oklahoma City's kind of an interesting spot. Skaz, I know you're not crazy about Jimmy Butler, but I feel like Oklahoma City is the type of place where that feels like a good fit, right? Veteran player, has been there, hasn't totally done that. Competitor when he wants to be. I don't know. That feels like a decent landing spot. Your thoughts?
My only, hesitation would be OKC is kind of, I don't know if you watch a ton of OKC, but they might have the best chemistry of any team in the league. Like, they do their post-game interviews, like, what would be with Abby Chin here. Like, the whole team does them. They all stand there. They're all best friends. Like, it's a young group of guys. They're building the culture there. I'd be nervous about changing that shift. I know Butler is a good player, but he is aging, and he's also been borderline hated in every single locker room he's been in outside of Miami. So that would be a big swing for OKC to kind of, and I know Dean says they wouldn't have to give up one of those 3 or 4 core guys they have. I have a tough time believing Pat Riley's just going to take 1 or 2 picks for Jimmy Butler. So I would be hesitant to do that.
I mean, not to say, listen, oftentimes teams get boxed in the NBA when their star player says they want out, but the Heat aren't going anywhere anyway. So do you rule out Pat Riley based